Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. This is Janani, and in today's video I'll be talking about the top 20 lessons that I learned in 2020. This is going to be a two-part series. This is the first of the two-part series with the top 10 lessons. Let's get started. 2020, no matter how it's been for each of us, has actually definitely put us through various experiences, and from these experiences we have different lessons to take back. The first lessons in that accord for me is to not take things for granted. Humans somehow don't really realize the ultimate value of something unless it's taken away from them. Many of us this year haven't even been able to share a meal with our dear loved ones because of the lockdown and quarantine measures. And something as simple as that meal can be so important to us. That kind of a social connection can be so important to us. And only in the lack of it did we actually go about appreciating it, because it was so normalized in our life pre-COVID. One of the things that I decided for myself was to consciously make an attempt to appreciate and notice the little things that are happening around me and not really take things for granted. And this was a very important life lesson that hit me hard, especially given the fact that we have so much privilege that we have been given, and we don't quite notice it because it's just so normalized, and it's a part of our everyday life. We genuinely have so much to be grateful in life for, and I hope I continue this practice and take this habit of gratitude into 2021 as well. The second important lesson that I realized in 2020 is to embrace my emotions. Especially this year, I have noticed cycle of extreme emotions in me on an everyday basis, owing to the fact that I am an extrovert and I haven't been able to go out. Staying indoors has taken a mental toll on me in its own way. There have been days where I see the news, I feel really sad, and then in order to cheer myself up, I go and watch a BTS video, and then I feel happy for a while, and then I come across a horrible news, and then I feel guilty for feeling happy because there's so much suffering in the world. In turn, I feel infuriated, and then I'm not productive at work, and then I feel guilty for not being productive at work. So guilt, sadness, happiness, fear, all kinds of emotions put together. There has been just a very wavy emotion wavelength, I guess. You learn to connect with yourself a little each day, and these emotions basically speak to you about the kind of things you feel for the happenings around you. Each of us over here is finding our own way to face our emotions in our own healthy little attempts. It does take a very long time to reach a point where you're like, hey, there are some things in my control and there are some things that I need to relinquish my control over. And to reach that point, first you need to be able to embrace your emotions and accept them and stop invalidating them. It's okay to feel a certain way. There are reasons for why you feel a certain way. Observe why these emotions are coming up in the first place, and slowly the internal storm inside you will subside away. The third important lesson that I learned is that it's okay to say no. All my life I've been this person who I think says yes to a lot of things, yes to a lot of people, yes to almost everything, just to ensure that people aren't hurt by my no, or they don't validate me as somebody rude, or I don't come across as somebody rude. I want to be a nice person. We all want to be nice people at the end of the day, and I'm scared my no will make me a lesser being than I am. But it is true that we do need space and energy to deal with the things that we are going through, and especially this has been such a difficult year for each of us. We do need that space and energy to allocate to things we really want to allocate to, and take time for ourselves, take time for self-care, and take time to prioritize the things that we want to prioritize. So if there is something in your life that you do not really want to give your energy or resources to, and by resources I mean time, energy, money to, it's okay to go ahead and say no, and care for yourself and put yourself at the front of things. We all have our own hidden struggles that we don't speak aloud about, and though we can really try to be empathetic and try to be understanding, only we know what we're going through. Think of two scenarios: one where a president or a head of state is trying to solve a water crisis problem for people who are dying, and another, a farmer who probably has a lot of debt and mortgages that he needs to pay off. In the former situation, it's the state of an entire country, and in the other, it's just an individual farmer and his family problems that he's dealing with. When you look at it first, you feel like probably the head of state has a bigger problem, or for some of you, the impression would be no, the farmer has a bigger problem. But if you think of it as humans, we have the same mind, we have the same brain, but what differentiates us is the kind of endurance abilities we have for each of these problems, and only each individual knows the struggle that they are facing with their problem. So it's very unfair to say that one problem is bigger than the other, because to each their own issues and their own struggles and their own journey. The fourth lesson is that your house can be your oyster, so keep it clean. Right now, I love my room, and it's taken a long time for it to actually come to this state. It took me 2 months of revamping compared to what it was. All my life, I've been very messy and very disorganized with the space I've been living in. I tend to put away and procrastinate folding clothes, doing my cupboard, organizing my dressing table, organizing my table. These are tasks that I just genuinely just put away and procrastinate. This year I made a conscious decision to keep a clean space, to make my environment more productive for myself, especially because I was working from home most of the times, and I was actually doing every single thing that I wanted to do within these four walls. I really wanted to be a conducive environment to do the things that I really wanted to spend my time in. So now I have different spaces to do the different things that I want to do. I have a creative space where I read, I draw, I do my artsy stuff, and then of course I have my desk which is the peak of productivity time for me, which is my office work and essentially the things that I really want to do within a day. Those tasks are accomplished on my desk, and then I have my bed where I have a cozy nap and a very comfortable sleep at night, and I couldn't be more happier. I also became a plant parent this year, and I brought in a snake plant, which is Iris, and he's brought in a lot of positivity to my life. There are days when nothing is going per plan. You have a huge list of tasks you want to accomplish, but nothing is moving even an inch. We have bad days. We feel frustrated with those bad days. We feel frustrated with ourselves. And I just wanted to quickly remind to say that it's okay. We are going to have some good days and some bad days. It's like the concept of yin and yang, good and bad coexist together. Yes, and that's applicable to even the kind of days you have on a regular basis. On some days, waking up is an achievement by itself. You don't always have to strive to give out your 100%, or on some days just waking up is giving your 100%. It's okay to be at a different place to a friend. It's okay to be at a different pace. It's okay to choose your pace. And while this whole time, embrace a positive attitude and strongly believe that better days will come. Sixth one, acceptance is key. This is one of my favorite pointers. I think we all need to be a little bit more empathetic and a little bit more understanding. And when I say empathetic and understanding, I don't just mean for the people around you. We all tend to be kind for the people around you, but the way you talk to yourself, the conversations you have with yourself, you tend to set a lot more harsher standards for yourself than your friend. So I wanted to say that you need to be understanding and empathetic and kind towards yourself as well. Like I said, when I was revamping my room earlier this year, I made a lot of artwork that I put up in frames around the room, and one of the frames or one of the artwork that I made has a saying which says, be kind to your mind, as a constant reminder to say that it's okay. If you've done something that you really didn't plan for, it's fine. You'll definitely get to a better state. So I've been trying to have healthier conversations with myself as well. I've linked the downloadable PDFs for these for the artwork from my room in the description box below. So if you'd really like to print it up and put it in your room, feel free. So in all, I wanted to say, try to practice a little acceptance of the way time has passed, of the way you look, of your flaws, of your own incompetencies as you define it, and of what reality actually is. Denial and resistance to these emotions is only going to bog you down. So try to be accepting towards yourself, and I'm confident that you'll get to a better place. The seventh one is follow your own path. As Richard Feynman says, I'm going to read out a quote: you have no responsibility to live up to what other people think you ought to accomplish. I have no responsibility to be like they expect me to be. It's their mistake, not my failing. I define how I spend my time, and I define my priorities for how I'm going to spend my resources. People have opinions, people are here to say things because they can say it. I can surely pick up things from the constructive criticism people give me, but only if I truly want to change and only if it impacts me to an extent where I want to make the change for myself. The change that we do for others should only be because we truly believe in what they said and not for the purposes of external validation. So I very strongly believe that if you are a certain way, you define your path for yourself, and when people come in and share their opinions, it's great to consider them for improving yourself, but please remember that a lot of what you want to become should come from within you and not for satisfying your validation that you're trying to seek externally. On a side note, this is a work in progress for me. I think I am somebody who does seek external validation, so eighth point, invest in your happiness. If you research on some of the regrets people had towards their end of their lives, it's most often true to them saying that I wish I had lived a life true to myself. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. When I was a kid, I used to go for a lot of music classes. I used to sing at every attempt I got. I used to draw a lot and get involved in a lot of art and crafty things. I used to really enjoy writing essays during my English lessons. I reconnected with my hobbies this year, be it music or art. Spending time to do the things you love doing makes life worth living. As shown by the concept of Ikigai, which basically speaks about how to find your true purpose or how to find true happiness by living purposeful life, it basically talks about finding something which is an intersection of what the world needs, what you love to do, what you're good at, and what brings in money. And I would personally say you really do not need to find the intersection of all the four things. Even if you start with one or like an intersection of two things, you're at a better place than a lot of people. And I would ideally say start with what you love to do. And I feel like eventually, if you keep practicing the thing that you really love to do, it'll become a craft of your own. It'll actually mature over time if you're consistent, and then you'll be good at it, and eventually you'll be able to make money from it, and hopefully the world will also need it. So definitely give priority to the things you really love to do, and spend time on things you love doing. This year I found a lot of things I like, and I spent a lot of time satiating my curiosity. I did play quite a lot of ukulele with my sister. I did get down to drawing a lot on my iPad, as well as I downloaded this app called Brilliant, who are not sponsoring this video, where there are a lot of logic and problem solving related questions that I really enjoyed, and I recommend it to you if you kind of like that kind of thing. I connected with a lot of friends on Twitter, and these things made me really happy and cope through the year. So investing time in things that make you happy will definitely be rewarding in the future. The ninth one is to have a one step at a time approach. One of the graphs that have changed my life is this one by James Clear, which is becoming 1% better every day. You can define what this 1% change that you want to bring about, which will over time and over consistency bring in compounding results, as the concept of compound interest goes. Take this one step at a time till the time it actually becomes a habit where you no longer need to think about it and you're actually on an autopilot mode. In the beginning, taking this one step might be hard, but if you strive enough to do it consistently over time and make it a habit, it would actually be automated, like almost like how you brush your teeth now. And once it becomes a habit, it will actually reduce your cognitive load, and it'll almost be a part of your muscle memory. And over time, you see compounding results as a byproduct. The last thing is something my mom has been saying since the time I was a kid. In Hindi, there are two words, Shraddha and Sabra. So faith and patience are very powerful when they come together. The Songhai people of West Africa have this very nice idiom. I'm gonna attempt pronouncing it, I'm probably gonna go wrong. Adunya Kala Suru, which basically means life is patience. Good things take a lot of time. Nothing that's worth comes easy. We are in a world where we want everything immediately. We want it so fast. We are so impatient. We want it now. But holding a little faith that things will eventually work out, and being patient for them to work out while adding a little consistency always does work out in the end, or so I've noticed. In conclusion, COVID-19 has really changed our perspective over a lot of things. It's given us so much experience to actually learn from, and I'm sure you've had your own share of experiences. Please drop it in the comments below. I would love to know. We don't know if we'll go back to a world where we can actually travel a lot. We don't know when it'll happen, if it does happen. Meanwhile, hang in there and find your own ways to cope with everything that's been happening. And I hope 2021 is bright for all of us. There is a part 2 to this video that's upcoming in about 3 to 4 days time, and please look out for it. I'm sharing some of my other actual actionable tips and tricks that I learned in 2020. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe, like, and share this video if you really appreciate it, and if you could resonate with even one of the points. And do watch my other videos on my main channel. Thank you.